Growing up in the US, undocumented, meant that I felt like I was living with a giant secret. Now I see that actually that's my superpower. My name is Jose Campos and I am an artist. I work from Margate. The name of my practice is Studio Lenca, and I use the name studio because a studio is a space for experimentation, and Lenca refers to the indigenous people of El Salvador. So I used to be a full-time teacher, and I was teaching in very busy schools in London, and I felt that in order to have a work-life balance, I needed to make work. So I started taking pictures of myself dressed as folkloric dancers of El Salvador. I guess that sort of moved into painting, so I became interested in portraiture. The paintings sort of took on a life of their own. People started really engaging with the paintings, and now I'm a full-time artist. I always think about my experience as a teacher, specifically the ability that young people have when you present them with a brand new idea. They sort of jump into the unknown, and that is something that I try to embody in my own practice. The different materials that I use are inspired by the things that I'm trying to say, and sometimes I use like PVC tablecloths, and that material is very much linked to my mother and the work that she does. Sometimes I use symbols in photography. The materials that I collect talk about the distance between Latin culture and me. Those materials are really hard to source here in the UK, and that process is almost performative. It sort of allows me to speak about that distance from the place that I was born. And when I paint, I don't feel like I'm working. It's more like being and thinking and meditating. So it just feels like I'm sort of engaging with the world. I grew up helping my mother clean houses, and it's interesting because I learned how to exist in two worlds. One world, was the sort of undocumented Latinx working class experience. And then the other world was the sort of high-end luxury environment. So I learned to sort of navigate those, borders through this experience. And I really use that in my work. I always have the feeling that I'm an outsider. I guess that is my reality, and that's sort of my home, actually. It's my comfort zone in a way. It's so cheesy, but home is where the heart is. It's where relationships are, the people that you love are, and that can be anywhere. Margate is a space for opportunity. It's also the ability to connect to nature, especially the sea. After I finish a day of working in the studio, I just walk along the beach to my flat, and that sense of space really inspires me, but it also allows me to feel centered. In my home, my actual home, I don't have any of my paintings, and they all sort of live in my studio. Every window in my apartment looks out onto the sea, so I think that the sea and the changing sky offers so much. So I like to have it very minimal because it's all about the nature in that space. Every day I wake up maybe at 6 and start working in the studio at 8:30, and I sort of work until 5. And I think that has sort of come from teaching, but also this feeling of taking advantage of the day, being productive. I walk my dog, and then I walk along the coast to my studio in Margate Old Town. I make a cup of coffee, and I check my emails, get rid of all the emails, and then just make and paint for the rest of the day. And it's really nice because my studio is in the old town, so people pop in all the time and have a cup of tea, and we have conversations, and it feels like a real community. Every day I get into the studio, I light a candle, and I really love woody smells, and I really love the scent fig. I use scent in the studio more than I do at home, and I suppose it's because scent is comforting, so I'm trying to create an environment in the studio that will allow me to, be the best painter that I can be. Having people collect my work is a privilege. I feel like they take a part of me and my story into their homes. I think that's really powerful.